It's the Samsung Galaxy A55, and I have to say, if you're looking for cheaper alternatives to the S24 FE, like I would be, if you think it's a little bit too much for the money, about $150 overpriced, then the A55 is certainly a phone that you want to look at. And the more I use the S24 FE, ours should be here for the channel a little bit later today. I'm using the Android Police one. I'm going to be doing the review over on AndroidPolice.com. So I've been using the S24 FE for a couple of days so I could talk a little bit about a comparison between the two. We are going to do a full comparison and also my impressions video tomorrow once I get our hands on the one for Steve Alicia's Tech. But a couple different things that you're going to want to notice. And the thing that it becomes more apparent to me the longer I use the S24 FE is that Samsung engineered a spot in its lineup to protect the S24 FE. There is a very specific reason why, after however many years, the A55 was not released in the United States. Because if you were to use those two side by side, you'd be hard-pressed to come up with a value gap there or make up the value gap in the $300 price difference between these two phones. Link in the description. It does help the channel. $320 on Amazon, roughly, with Prime Day coming up next week. So you can already see the value that you get with an A55 that I think you're missing with an S24 FE. So if this were available in the United States, there'd be very little reason to spend that additional money and pick up an S24 FE. So let's talk about what you get with the A55 in comparison. 6.6-inch display, a little bit smaller. The FE now has a 6.7-inch display. The FE does have a poppier display. It is more what we're accustomed to in the old school Samsung displays. This is the A55 features the muted display that we've seen on the S24 Ultra. It does have the vividness slider now, though. You can go in to settings on display settings and up the vividness, but it will not get to the punchiness of the S24 FE screen. So if that's a deal breaker for you, then it might be worth it for you to spend the extra money and go ahead and get an S24 FE. However, once you get past that, it gets a little tougher. Build quality, fantastic on both. Aluminum frame, Gorilla Glass Victus. For a $300 roughly phone, you get a premium build. It's going to have similar design language, of course, right? Like you're going to have, Samsung has kind of diluted its entire pool of phones by having a design language. I think it benefits the mid-range phones more than it benefits the flagship devices, but you get to take advantage of that. It's an unoffensive design. It's quite nice. Feels good in the hand. Feels like a premium device. The panel's 1080p. Not as vibrant, like I said, as the S24 FE, but still really sharp, really crisp. Content looks amazing. Gets bright enough. Fast, fluid display. Everything you're going to want out of a phone for $300, you're going to get with the Galaxy A55. Let's talk about horsepower. Exynos 1480, Exynos 2400E in the S24 FE. Is there a difference? Sure. S24 FE is a little snappier, but this one is just as fluid, just as nice. You're going to notice stuff on gaming, of course, more intensive stuff, photo editing. If you do the thing on the S24 FE, kind of the AI editing stuff, you're going to notice a slowdown there, a difference. However, for what you're going to be doing on a daily basis, scrolling through the UI, loading up Instagram, these things are going to be just fine on your Galaxy A55, and you're saving $300 in the process. So there's definite reasons why this is more of a model or a frame for a fan edition Samsung experience than the actual fan edition. You pick up a micro SD card slot for expandable storage. A lot of people asking for that. You still get 8 gigs of RAM. You have the same base storage at 128 gigs. So you're not really giving up a whole lot there. The cameras, yes, they have their struggles. The A55 cameras are not the best cameras that Samsung has to offer, and already that's kind of a low bar when you talk about Samsung photography the last year or so. But I'll tell you what, the S24 FE cameras aren't exactly, the S23 FE cameras last year didn't exactly knock anybody's socks off. And for what I'm seeing so far, it's improved on the S24 FE, but still not something that would get me to be excited about spending an additional $300 plus on one phone over the other. Now, in the United States, you're going to have some issues, okay? You're going to be limited to T-Mobile, MVNOs on the T-Mobile tree. You're going to be, even then, you're going to be limited on some bands, some of the faster, I think, 5G bands. I personally have had no problem. I've gotten the ultra-wide. I've gotten 5G coverage on T-Mobile without issue on my A55, but just keep that in mind. If you're in a lower signal area, if you're rural, whatever it happens to be, keep in mind that you might not get the very best signal because of the bands. It really wasn't meant for the United States, and the bands reflect that. But for the most part, I think it's worth the savings that you get there. I think it's worth saving that $320 to pick up an A55 if you can, over spending a bit more for the S24 FE. Galaxy AI, will you get the entire slate here? No, you're not, but you still get Circle to Search, which was one of the second slide of the Samsung presentation for the S24 FE. So here you go, $320, Circle to Search, you get that. Samsung Knox is available on this device as well, the security features, which was something that was a big selling point. Plus, you can still use ChatGTP. You can still download AI apps. It's not like you just because Samsung doesn't give you the full slate of Galaxy AI, you don't have sketch to image on here, that you're somehow limited. You could download multiple image programs that are going to be just as good, if not better, than Samsung's variant. So there's really no reason to spend that additional amount of money in my eyes. You're not getting significantly better raw performance. You are getting some better raw performance. If you're a gamer, that perhaps comes into play. Big into phone editing and video editing. If you're doing that on your phone, chances are you're not looking at either of those devices. But if you are, you're going to get more mileage out of the S24 FE. But for the most part, for the daily stuff, for the Instagrams and the Twitters and the Facebooks and the WhatsApp and the Discords of the world, light gaming, video content consumption, you're watching Steve Alicious Tech on YouTube, you're not going to notice enough of a difference to warrant a $300 gap. Plus, you pick up a nice premium build. It's a slightly more compact device. Same weight, though, because this is a little thicker, a little heavier in the hand. But it's a premium feel in the hand, so it doesn't really bother me. It looks like and feels like if you own one, you put it in the comment section, you know how good this device feels. You know how premium this device is, and then you throw in the absolutely bonkers battery life. Over 8 hours of screen on time without breaking a sweat. Then you know that you have something here with the A55. Okay, it's getting 4 years of Android upgrades. S24 FE is getting 7 years of One UI updates, so that's something to consider as well. But when you put together the package, when you put together the differences, and then you account for the extra money that you'd have to spend to get it, the A55 becomes a lot more attractive of a package compared to Samsung's more expensive devices. And I think that's why the A55, after the successes of the A54, people loving the A52, the A53 will pretend didn't exist, but the A54 was a phenomenal device. People loved it. Great device, great display. Exynos 1380 was snappy enough. It was good performance. It updated well over time. Could have done better on battery life, but this would have been a knockout device for $400, $350 in the United States, but they didn't do it. And I think the reason why was to protect a more expensive and relatively weak S24 FE. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve Alicious day.